All right, so what we have here is what I call the three-box drill. So as you can see in the animation, pretty self-explanatory, there are in fact three boxes, right? So this is a drill for practicing moving possession in the midfield and then regaining possession in the midfield. So the middle third of the field is generally where this is all going to take place in a game scenario. And it is probably the most difficult place to play from a technical standpoint because you're trying to do a lot of things all at once, right? So in this particular drill, you can see I have the three boxes, and we're just for ease of reference, going left to right, I'm just going to call it box one, box two, and box three. Okay? So as you can see, we have two players in each box, and from each team, red and blue, and they are confined to their boxes, right? So the two red players and two blue players in each box cannot leave their individual boxes. The ball can pass through the boxes by passing only, not by dribbling. So the idea here is quick passes on the offensive side, quick passes, passes into space, and quick movements, right? So these are the things we're looking for from an offensive standpoint. But you're not just playing offense, you're also playing defense. So defensively, you're looking to cut passing lanes, you're looking to track a runner, right? These are things that I'll kind of explain as I go through the animation, but these are just some things to keep in mind as we go. So let's get started with this. And as we're looking here, you have the ball starting with the player in red. So he has some options here, right? So much like the floater drill, the idea is to just keep possession, and then here you're actually trying to score, right, in these little goals. So he has some options, right? He's here. He can go up the line here. He can go into space here. He can try and hit the ball into this space, right? So he has some options available to him, right? So if we move the animation forward, he went into that little space there, right? So he has dropped it off to his teammate, and his teammate now is much closer to the line, right? But he can't cross that line, so he has to pass it across, right? Not necessarily in the air, but he has to pass it across. So he takes it and knocks it into space. One of his teammates has come to collect, right? And now one of his teammates has options, right? So he can go square, but this guy is looking to cut that off, right? He can dribble up if he wants, but then this guy is right on him, so maybe not ideal, right? But he has some options, right? So if we advance, he took a more interesting pass. So this is what I talked about with passes into space, right? So he went here, and his teammate went from where he was to an open space to collect the ball, right? Because his teammate had originally gone moving right to left in our animation here, the blue player went with him, right? So they both went this way. But by doubling back, the blue player has to change his momentum entirely, and he's now, the red player that is, has lost the blue man. So now the red player is looking to get the ball into the third box. He passes it, it's cut out, right? And the reason why is, if we go back, the blue players were watching, right? And the red players not really taking the what's the word I'm looking for? Taking the game by the horns, right? So the red player should try and drop into this space. This red player try and drop into this space, right? But they didn't. And so they just kind of stood there, which is fine, except that the blue player was anticipating that pass and went ahead and jumped it, right? So he went right over here into this space, and as the pass comes in, snag it, right? So now blue player has taken the ball, right? So now the red team is on defense, right? So now blue is trying to go the other direction, red is scrambling to catch up, and this is where quick, easy passes are the way to go. Quick, easy passes into space, and players on the move. It is very difficult to stop players defensively when the ball is going to a place that the players are not yet, because you have to guess where it's going to go, and guessing is never really a good option, right? So, if we keep playing our animation forward, blue man just cut across, all the way across the field, in order to open up some space, right? Because if we go back one frame, right, there's some space here, and he can just go here. But this guy's scrambling to catch up, this guy's running over, right? So it's there, but maybe we want to get a little more intricate with it, right? So blue player runs across. Now, what has happened is that he's almost used the guy with the ball like a screen. So now the man that was marking him, this guy, is now cut off because he now has to go for the ball. This guy was already tracking the ball. All of a sudden, bang, he is wide open, right? So if we move it along, he now takes the ball, and that man is gone. So this man in red here, the one of the ones in the middle box, wasn't really tracking his man very well, and as the blue player went out, this guy was behind, right? So now he's scrambling to keep up, and this is why it's important to think with offense and defense in mind, right? Midfielders have a difficult job. They're having to do two things, right? So now blue man has the ball. Now he has some options. He can try and turn and go up the line. If I can get my pen to work here. He can try and go on up the line. But there's another option, and we're going to see this in this animation. He's going to drop this ball off to the blue man. Now this guy, remember, is scrambling to catch up, so he's running this way. He's going to drop this ball off to his teammate and then run out here. And what's going to happen is, as we play that, he's going to run out here. That man is still running this way, right? The man in red is still running this way. All of a sudden, they're going different directions. It's hard to turn around when you're running full speed trying to catch up to the ball. So now, he has completely opened up the space. The men in blue in box 3, or box 1 rather, I apologize, are moving around to try and get into space. Red's following them. And now this guy is running into open space. This man here is tracking the blue. And this guy is already running this direction, so now he has to cut back really quickly and try and catch up. Not a great situation to be in. So, if we keep going, he's collected the ball. Now the blue men have shifted again. This guy, the man in red in box number 1, has done a good job, right? He is tracking this man. This guy is still behind him, so there's still an open line to pass, right? So you want to be pressing the man as much as you can. And remember what I said about turning around is hard? This guy's still behind. He is running as fast as he can to catch up. So we're going to go ahead and keep playing. Now this is where passing into space is important. Super important to do. That ball into space opens up a ton. Because, like I said, this man here has run this way. He is cutting this pass off. Right? This pass is cut off. But, that said, he is running to cut off the pass. So you want to pass in a direction that he's not going. So, if we back it up real quick, that ball, as this man goes this way, goes right here. And this guy runs into space. They're going opposite directions. That red guy is now way behind. So, as we go through, he goes into space, grabs the ball, and this blue man, the other one in box 1, is now running toward the goal, right? He is looking to collect that pass because, remember, he was running this way, but now as soon as he changed direction, that red guy, still going to the right, now has to turn around and sprint back with him. And what happens? This guy is now wide open because he left this guy behind with the pass into space. He's going to take the ball, he's going to pass it, and the blue man's going to score with red trying to catch up. So, as you can see, it is super important to think about passing into space, not passing into feet. Passing into feet is good, but if there's a man right there, if there's an opposite player right there, it doesn't do any good. So, this is what this drill is for. Offensively, passing into space. Defensively, trying to anticipate where that pass is going to cut it out. Alright? So, this is the what I like to call the battle in the midfield. This is a natural progression of the building out of the back. And then we'll get to the more attacking version of this later on. But this, in particular, this is complicated. This is difficult. It's not easy to do straight away. If you have questions, go ahead and ask, right? This is not going to be something that happens immediately. This takes time. This is difficult, but with practice, we'll get it.